Hi, welcome to the regular meeting of the Ojai Arts Commission. Liaison, will you please roll call, please?
Yes, roll call, please. Commissioner Grau?
Here.
Commissioner Wright?
Here.
Vice Chair Steiner?
Here.
Chair West?
Present.
Thank you. And we have Commissioner Leeds absent. Thank you.
This is best. Will lead us, liaison, pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Shall I jump right in?
Do we have any public comments on things not on the agenda?
We have no public comments at this time.
Thank you. I'm going to turn it over to Commissioner Steiner to introduce our presentation for the day.
Great, thank you. We are delighted and honored to have the Ojai Music Festival here with us today. Since 1947, the Ojai Music Festival has been a part of this valley, and it has become the centerpiece, the introduction to the summer, the centerpiece, the global element on the calendar for music aficionados and for locals alike. We are so fortunate to have the Ojai Music Festival as a part of our town. We have with us by Zoom Ara Guzaliminian. I'm sorry, Ara, I think I just butchered your name. Guzalimian.
Guzalimian.
Yes. And also in audience is Anna Wagner, the Director of Philanthropy for the Music Festival. And of course, you all heard earlier from Laura Wagner, who runs the Bravo program, which we are so fortunate to have in our town. That is a resource for our youth in music. And without further ado, I'll turn it over to Ara to tell us more about the music festival. Thank you, Ara, for joining us.
Of course, thank you. And as I said earlier, I'm only sorry I couldn't be with you in person this evening. I was there last week, but various travel plans took me elsewhere this week. I want to just speak personally for a moment and tell you a fact that continues to astonish me is that my own history with the Ojai Festival goes back more than 50 years to the festival in 1974 when I participated as a member of the UCLA chorus. So that was in essence, my one and only time on stage. But my involvement began in the early 80s, and I've been involved in a variety of capacities since then. Once again, in my current role as artistic and executive director since 2019. One of the things I wanted to focus on is the evolution of the festival in the last 7 or 8 years. That I think is particularly relevant to the community in Ojai. I'll talk about the national reach after we begin right at home in Ojai. There's been a very significant shift in recent years to growing connection and support within Ojai itself, even though the festival has a regional and national presence. And I thought you might be interested to know that in the last 2 years, the ticket sales break down roughly as follows, within 1% or 2. Roughly 40% Los Angeles and Orange County taken together. But then roughly 40% what I call 805, which is basically Thousand Oaks to Santa Barbara, of which by far the largest segment is from Ojai itself. And then about 20% that's elsewhere in California, San Diego, San Francisco, and also a small number of national and international audience members. So that's a really significant shift, and I think represents the growing cultural engagement even within Ojai. It's reflected on the board of the festival as well. Of the 21-member board, 8 currently are Ojai resident, 8 are Los Angeles resident, 2 from Santa Barbara, 1 from San Francisco, and 2 elsewhere in the United States. And one of the things that's been really central to me is engaging in partnerships within the Ojai community. Obviously, our Bravo program, which Christine, you mentioned, has a hugely active presence in the community, in the schools. We provide really the only source of music education from kindergarten to 3rd grade, but the reach of Bravo is beyond that with performances for seniors and putting seniors and kids together. A SCORE program, which is a composition program for high school kids, which we piloted recently and hope to grow. And I would say even tomorrow morning, or tomorrow during the day, there's the Imagine concert, which is a world music concert we present at Libby Bowl and produced and supported by the Ojai Music Festival. That will be attended by about 800 students, grades 4 to 6 of all the Ojai public schools, 2 Ventura area schools, and all of the Ojai private schools as well. And then there's a 5 p.m. free community concert over in the Fountain area, just as a kind of festive start to the festival, to the weekend, I should say. Um, all that just to say, thank you for the work that you do and the support that you provide and have provided us over the years. It's extremely valued. The most recent grant will support a free community concert during the music festival on Saturday morning at 8 a.m. at the Ojai Meadows Preserve. And it's one of multiple free events we're doing during the festival, which I'll also talk about. But the free 8 a.m. concert, it's part of a series we fondly call Morning Meditations, is an hour of quiet, reflective music that works particularly well outdoors. And it's part of an ongoing partnership we now have had with the Ojai Valley Land Conservancy for the last 4 years. During the festival itself, we've just confirmed it, a very happy partnership with David Berger and the Ojai Playhouse of showings of a number of films related to the artists at the festival. In May, we're doing a collaboration with a local organization called the Listening Garden. And just during this fall and winter, we've also done collaborations in Ventura with the Ventura Museum. And we recently presented a concert at the Matilaha campus of the Ojai schools in the very beautiful cafeteria that was built. And that was a program that we presented in partnership with Ventura College. And I've frequently said to anybody who will listen that the future of the Ojai Music Festival really is in Ojai. And my hope is to grow a year-round presence of service to the community and creating music events, often in partnership with local organizations, and expand what we do as a part of the fabric of life beyond the music festival. So that's the local focus. At the same time, we do have this regional and national reach, and the music festival is coming June 5 through 8. Claire Chase, who is a flutist who I've described as some kind of fusion of the Pied Piper and Wonder Woman, is the music director this year. And we will have about 20 events in the 4 days of the festival, as I mentioned, several of them free. Um, and we've already had confirmation that we will have coverage from the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, the Los Angeles Times, and various other online national journals, and even some interest about doing a feature from German radio. So I hope that the news of the festival continues to travel far and wide. And I'm fond of saying that this year's festival, in a way, is particularly Ojai in that there are a good number of works that are very much nature related. Claire Chase grew up in Southern California and San Diego County and Leucadia, and she, like I do, has a deep kind of resonance with the chaparral landscape in and around Ojai. And she's programmed several works that in one way or another are landscape based. So I'm hugely looking forward to this year's edition of the festival. And then next year, the music director will be Esa-Pekka Salonen, the former music director of the Los Angeles Philharmonic, and with a very different focus. Maybe I can stop with that. I'm trying to be sensitive to your time, and we can have a moment or two of questions or dialogue if you'd like.
Thank you, Ara. Is Anna going to be speaking? No. Okay. Please, I'll recognize anyone who wants to ask a question. Christine, go ahead.
I don't know if, we may have lost Ara. There's Ara, okay.
No,
Sorry,
no, I'm
we
here.
lost you. We lost our connection for a moment. Ara, I just wanted to mention that the Ojai Music Festival was my first introduction to Ojai and this beautiful valley, and for many years it was really my only connection with Ojai, and so I am personally looking forward to this. I don't have any questions of you. Does anyone have any questions?
I don't have any
Karina?
questions.
Yeah,
Sorry.
please, go ahead.
I have a comment. I love hearing that Claire Chase and yourself are inspired by the Ojai Chaparral, and it's just another reminder how the artists in this community, especially the visual artists, they all draw inspiration from this town, and it just is really, it fills my heart that it also transcends to the music. And, you know, this is the message we're trying to get out to the city, to the public, that Ojai itself holds so much meaning and inspiration for artists. They go hand in hand. So I'm looking forward to hearing her work in June.
One other reflection of that, I'm glad you mentioned that, is we, of course, like the rest of the known world, had a pause in 2020, but beginning in 2021, we were online in 2020 like so much else. But beginning in 2021, the cover of the program book for the festival has been selected from Ojai artists.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes.
So just, another resonance about what for me is the amazing creative spirit to be found in the valley.
Last year's cover with the Otto Heino work was really a knockout. It was beautiful. I neglected to mention that our own David Leeds is on the board of the music festival.
He's one of our commissioners here.
And I just want to add a word
Pam's going to add
of
something.
gratitude for what you produce here in the valley. I mean, It just enriches our community so much, and I have 6 grandkids living in Ojai, and several have participated in the Bravo program, and just so grateful for the music festival.
Well, we are, I will just say thank you for that. I will just say that Laura Walker,
Amazing.
who is the Bravo, is the most astonishing music woman. I mean, my example, if you don't mind a minute more, is we were on one of the school campuses, middle school kids, with Laura, and these were kids who are now in 6th and 7th grades who hadn't seen Laura since they were in 3rd grade. And it was as if I walked onto campus with a rock star. These otherwise hyper cool tweens suddenly started to say, Miss Laura, and flock to her. It was her impact with the kids is pretty remarkable. We're really, really lucky to have her.
Thank you, Ara. This is Smitty, the chair here. I just really enjoyed listening. I was on the board. I don't want to talk about myself, but because of some of the other parallels here, it's so interesting. 25 years ago, when Rick Gould was president and Esa-Pekka Salonen was, I think that was when he was here last, probably, and he brought this along.
You've got a perfect memory. It was 2001, 2000, I think. No,
Yeah.
2001. It will have been exactly 25 years.
Yeah, I think we
when
had
he returns.
3-year terms. And Rick Gould was the president, who I think passed away this year, which, so thank you, Rick, for everything you did. I think he's the one that actually started it was during his term we started the foundation. Endowment, yeah. So you know, I like watching the past become the present, and it excites me for the future for sure. And isn't it interesting? At that time, Ernest Fleshman was the artistic director, right? And
Yes, that's exactly right.
his son is now on the team that is responsible for the booking of the Libby Bull this year. So it's just kind of an interesting quarter century kind of passed when I wasn't watching, and I'm glad to hear this. But of all your points, I love the 805 point, because I remember it was a solid 60% from the Los Angeles at the time, and the board was talking about how do we do even better down there? You know, let's get a board member down there. I remember at the time. So, isn't it interesting that it's coming home again? This Arts Commission here has been around for a couple decades, but I've never seen it as strong as it is right now. And so that's why we're making a push here in Ojai to increase the grant funding, which is, we recently awarded you a small grant. I know it's small, but I appreciate the effort that Anna and everyone puts into making that happen, because that just the application sends a message to our council about what's important. And this year, for the first time, we'll have arts actually mentioned in the city's general plan, and we're making a hard push to try to increase our grant funding from $30,000 to $100,000 too. So, I think this 805 thing, this is reinvesting back in our 805, and I think it has some parallels with you. So let us know how government might help.
Well, huge cheers for that. Couple of other observations. One is, in the last year, Ventura County initiated some of its first arts funding, which I think is a reflection of the awareness within the county at large about the importance of the arts as part of the fabric of life. So, you know, you've been well ahead of the county, but I took that as a very encouraging sign. And, you know, on the less optimistic side, I think it's fair to say that the future of the National Endowment for the Arts is in question right now in the current political climate. And that would represent a significant loss of funding for us. And local and regional community support becomes even more essential. So I think it just underlines the importance of what you just said.
Thank you. Yeah, I think the sentiment that I'm hearing in Ohio among artists is, well, or at least the rationalization we come back to is, well, let's, more than ever, we have to be local if we can, and do what we can here locally. And what you guys do with Laura, it just, we really hope to partner. We have grant budget is the 30,000. That's our biggest chunk, but our second biggest now, and then has been our education budget. So we are educating not just youth and mentorships, but we're also doing continuing education for artists themselves to be better citizens, make their jobs be better jobs as well too. So we're on board with that. I didn't mean to take your time and turn it into our speech.
Right.
No, but I think we're very well aligned in values and hope, so it's heartening for me to hear.
Okay.
I just wanted to note, I'm going to distribute 2 items. One is a brochure about the upcoming program, and the other is a flyer about the Bravo program. I'll distribute these, and these would be available also for members of the public listening. For more information, you can go to ojaifestival.org, or for personal assistance, 805-646-2053. Ara, thank you so much, and we will see a lot of you in May and June. Thank you.
You certainly will, and
Thank you.
thanks to all of you once again for your continued support and for all you do.
Thank you. I'll recognize Anna if she has anything to say. So I thank you for being here. You've been an important part of the whole getting the message out, and I want to thank you and all the staff, for what you're doing. And this is a time, I think, maybe when government can do something here locally, because we have a strong commission and we're guided by a plan, not individual interests. So don't be scared of us.
We're looking forward to any future conversations about how that expanded budget might support and enable more creativity and collaboration here in the city. So,
Thank you. We're going to take 30 seconds to say goodbye.
bye, guys. Thank you for coming. Thank you.
I had a lot of flashbacks there. Wow, isn't it 8:05? I love it. All right. We'll move on to consent items, which I have none here, and correct me if I am wrong, Mr. Lealzon.
We have no consent items at this time.
The only action item today is the enrichment seminar. Is this a report from staff or from Commissioner Grau?
My understanding was Commissioner Grau would speak on this topic.
Okay. You are recognized.
Thank you, everyone. So the next enrichment seminar that I have slotted is a woman named Nicole Slater, who's coming up from Los Angeles. She's a master in social media marketing and is going to teach Instagram for artists at the museum March 26th from 3 to 4:30. I've reached out all over social media, sent out probably 120 emails so far. So we're set, but I need to get the vote to make sure that we're in agreement. I mean, I had the budget, but since we didn't meet last month,
Do we have the amount for Cole Slater?
$200.
$200. And it's Cole?
Nicole Slater.
Do you want me to make a motion, or would you like to make a motion?
So I'd like to make a motion that I get approval for $200 for the speaker who's coming up from LA.
And that's Cole Slater.
Nicole
Slater.
Slater.
I'm trying to give her a nickname. Second?
I second.
Any discussion?
Oh.
I thought I seconded.
Karina second. Oh. Oh.
Is any discussion on this, or just great job? I mean, wow, these things
I mean,
get better and better
she's-
attended.
She's
and
really amazing, and I've really waited a long time for her to say yes, so I'm very happy that she's coming up. I might have to wine and dine her myself, but
these seminars, I'm so proud of
Yeah.
Yes.
you and everything that we've done, because I mean, it is just most beautiful talking point when we talk about how government and the arts can help the economy, because what we're doing is we're taking artists who very often don't have a lot of formal business education, and we're making their jobs better. And this is government supporting that, and they've been showing up. That shows that
They
they
really
need
are,
it. So, full speed ahead on that.
I'd like to say something else to that. You know, we have very, besides the Ojai Studio Tour, which is limited to members, 72 members, we really don't have galleries here in town. And so for the artist to be seen, to be able to live here and make an income here, and also the gallery system in general has declined over the last 5 years for sure, probably longer than that, but 5 years for sure. So it's very important that artists learn how to take control of their own marketing. Was something that when I was coming up the ropes, we never did. I never talked about my work. I let the gallerist do that. Now you have to be doing it yourself. So these are really important lessons, and everyone's really happy. So I'm very grateful to the city for providing that.
I just want to make one note, and it's on the topic of income. And I mean, I work by the hour, and I understand that. I also do extensive pro bono. But I just want to mention that $200 is hardly any money at all for someone to come all the way up here to do a seminar, to be available for questions and likely for follow-up. And so in a way, this goes to Smitty's point about putting money behind the arts, that I think also we have to be giving more than a small honorarium to important people we want to contribute to our town.
Thank you. Yeah, agreed. I know that you're conscious of budget and spending money
Right,
and everything,
right.
but we do have a certain example to set that we respect, we respect these artists that do that. And when it's coming from government, the language, taxation, representation, and all, is money.
I'd love to give her more, but that's what I
Yeah.
promised her, so.
No, good. But let's, when we do our plan for next year,
Yes,
or budget for
yes.
next, I know we won't even spend our budget this year, and that's why it's the same. But don't be afraid. I'll call for a vote unless there's something, more discussion?
I just want to say thank you, Pam. I agree with Smitty that these are so wonderful. I would like to vote. I vote yay. Oh,
We have no public comments in room or in Zoom.
Sorry, yep.
Quite all right. And roll call. Commissioner Wright,
Yes.
thank you. Vice Chair Steiner,
yes.
thank you. Commissioner Grau,
Yes?
thank you. Chair West,
Aye.
thank you. And Commissioner Leeds is absent, so we have 4 in favor, 1 absent. Motion passes.
I do have a question,
Oh.
because this has come
Please.
up in the past. I need to get a check for her for next week. Is that a possibility?
That would be very difficult. We typically have a 2-week AP cycle. The
Okay.
AP cycle was actually what we were processing the grants with. So we actually just finished the grant, the AP cycle last week. So it would be 1 more week until.
Yeah,
we could
I
get
had,
that.
we had
couldn't
a
ask-
discussion, this week with staff, and I think we finally have a system in place right now. And so I think from here on, it will be a lot more smooth. They certainly understand, at least Liaison James understands, that this is important, and we just, have to follow the rules that are in place. And
I just, with some of my past speakers, it took several months.
yeah,
So I-
that's going to get better now, and because we're going to behave better too.
We will also, some of the holdups in the past, we have to have the information also available. We'll need a name and address, but then we can do the check requests, and that usually gets processed relatively quickly. But we
So if I
design.
get that to you tomorrow, we can get it in the pipeline?
We could, but it'll still be, the next AP cycle won't be for another week or so.
Okay.
We don't print checks on the regular. It's sort of a special controlled thing.
Let's move on. Now, in these updates here, there might be a lot of information we'll see. I wanted to check in with Liaison James first and see on public art, what will you be talking about during your report? Anything, do you have
That
a
is
public
something
art?
I would mention. There are some developments with the public art component. We have been informed that the El Roble Art intends to go forward with just providing the payment to the public arts funds. However, we are waiting for guidance from CDD on that, as that does the occupancy and making sure the money's all transferred and finalized. They'll have the final approval on that.
Okay, that was the only thing you were going to mention in public
I
art?
believe so.
Okay,
yes.
good. So
Thank you.
I was going to give you permission to interrupt Commissioner Steiner. Commissioner Steiner, tell us what's up.
James, you can always interrupt me.
You didn't
With
read
the-
your
with
handbook.
the
You
chair's
can interrupt
permission.
without my permission.
With the chair's permission, I did read the handbook, and we do have a matter to address on the handbook. But right now, I'd like to speak about public art. So, as you know, we have completed a conservation assessment that happened in the last fiscal year. That was very successful. It gave us a lot of information about the current state of all our public art, what's imperiled, what needs repair, and what's in great repair. I was holding off on presenting that to the public until we had a joint meeting with City Council, largely because it's so interesting and because City Council gets a larger audience than does the Arts Commission, that it would be helpful to have all of our community know. That said, one work that is in serious disrepair, as was noted by the conservators, is the wheel at the skate park. So I would like to I would like to renew a request I have made before, that we, in short order, hold a joint meeting with the City Council. And Mr. Chair, whatever you could do to make that happen. I know that Tuesday evening, the Deputy City Clerk and the Mayor said that if you would follow up with them, we would try to get that meeting set and set quickly. So that would be great, and then we can roll out the assessment of the conservation, and I think that will be exciting. Then secondly, I would like for the next meeting to take separately a discussion of the wheel at the skate park. I had an interesting discussion with artist Ted Gall about the skate park, and I would like to present an image of his maquette for what that originally looked like, as well as its current state, both its state of conservation and also its state of presentation. So I would like that on the next agenda, the wheel at Skate Park. And that is it for my public art presentation.
Thank you. I'm going to comment, because I had some discussions with staff this week. I suggest, we actually sort of, last year, I think we budgeted $6,000 from previous year to do this assessment, and this year we had budgeted a similar amount to take it to the next step, the conservation step 2. So I would like you to put in have a plan. I'll work with City Council to see if that's appropriate, and that'll help, but I would like us to be able to move ahead with our plan, because we do have some money budgeted for that this year. So I would like to have this in parallel of me trying to get a meeting with them. I would like us to have a plan anyways, so that if there's any steps that need to be taken, we won't have to start from scratch.
Good point, because we're already at the end of March, and so our year will run out. The skate park, the wheel at the skate park is a big and difficult and expensive issue, so I will focus both on that as well as on the smaller, what kinds of matters can be quickly repaired and conserved within the budget. I shall work on that separately with our contract conservators.
Yes, and don't be afraid to kind of move the conservation element ahead a little bit. I think, we have the power and responsibility here just on the commission to care for the public art, and if it's depending on a meeting, I don't, it doesn't have to be dependent on the meeting, is what
Great,
I meant, so
great.
thank you.
Thank you for that green light.
The Big Red Roller, that's what it's called, right? That'll be exciting. Can we bring it in here? Commissioner Grau, did you have anything
I do.
additional? Yes.
I do. So, in addition to the enrichment seminars that we're hosting at the museum, I had a discussion, and Smitty came with me at the Art Center about partnering to do a mentorship program. And I've been in communication with some of the chairs of the different branches there. The reason I was inspired by Colleen O'Mara's presentation here to the Arts Commission about all the different branches. They have literary and dance and theater and film and the visual arts and literary arts. So I thought that was the first place to go when thinking about, and they have a facility. So I've come up with a concept with Colleen and with Sven, and I'm sorry, I can't pronounce his last name, Sjogren, Colleen O'Meara and Sven Sjogren. Anyhow, the first panel that we're going to put together is for the film branch. And the idea is to create a panel of professionals, like a director, a producer, a cinematographer, a actor, a casting director, a whole panel of professionals in that field, and have an audience. We'll market to the high school and to the general public, because this isn't just mentorship for kids. This is the idea of bringing anyone who's interested in what a career in film looks like. The panel will discuss what they do. We would then have a little social break in between, and then it would be followed with question, like think of career networking, where the professional will sit at a table and people can sit around and ask them questions one-on-one. And the idea is, when we've done the mentorship program here through the Arts Commission, it was getting a professional and getting a student and pairing them off, and then they would work together for maybe 4 or 5 weeks and have a project that at the end. I'm hoping to create a program that will have more reach and impact people on a greater level. And Colleen's son is in the is in the theater program, and the idea of exposing youth to different possibilities, because you might think, I want to be in films, but you're not thinking, but maybe I'll be the casting director rather than the actor, or maybe I'll be behind the whole production as a producer. So we want to open up the ideas of what's possible. So we're going to try one with the film branch at the Art Center. We're still in discussion, so this is in discussion realm right now. But hopefully do one for the dance field and the literary field and the visual arts, and have them completed by the end of summer. So but we're still in the creative aspect of that. So that's my update on mentorships.
Thank you, Pamela. And I attended that meeting, and there was this sort of general, both sort of awe and mild excitement. You know, you don't get a lot of awe but what I wanted to say is that staff and I talked about our mentor program, just Royal Mentor Program, and we may have some creative ways to, because we have the money in the budget for this year, we have some creative ways where we can place the money with an operator, for a better word, and that will be the expenditure, and that way we don't run into that end of the fiscal year thing too. So we're trying to stay close to you as we can as we move along. So this should probably be, I would hope it would be an agenda item by next month. And let me know if you need any help with that. Thank you. Where was that? That was a mentor. Okay. Commissioner Wright, grants. And before you go, I think you have more on grants in your report, Liaison? James?
I could, but I believe Commissioner Wright may also provide the information.
I just,
But if you'd like to, I can follow.
okay. Well, don't be afraid to interrupt, because there's some things that have been happening with staff too that I don't know if you're aware of, so please.
Understood. Thank you.
Well, what an introduction, thank you. I was going to give an update that the 12 grants that we recommended to the City Council passed unanimously at their February 11th meeting. It was a discussion item instead of a consent item, which was different from the previous year. There was very little discussion, however. Council member Mang asked one question regarding why some of the grant recipients were not within the city of Ojai, which I clarified for her. And also a couple of comments from the mayor and the mayor pro tem was that the grant budget will be significantly larger next time. So we're hoping to see that coming forward. And then subsequently, James worked hard to notify all the grant recipients that they have been awarded the money and the money has become available. They can pick it up here at City Hall this week.
And we do encourage
Commissioner
that we notified everyone who provided us an email on the application, so they are aware that the funds are available. We do ask if anyone's listening that was a recipient, please bring the tax documentation when you sign for the check. Thank you.
Okay, did anyone have a report, staff or Karina, on the audit of the previous years?
The audit of the previous year is
The
ongoing.
previous recipients, yeah.
And we've received a couple, but we will be reaching out again this coming weeks to see.
Okay, good. So you've gotten, staff has helped you with that, yeah.
Right.
Well, we got to somewhere. Thank you, because that's important. Yes, Pam?
Well, a second. Since we have the email addresses for the grant recipients, could there be a letter that goes out maybe towards the end of the year, this year, or, yeah, I guess it would be next year, right? They're going to use the grant money next year, reminding them that they have a fiduciary responsibility to write a report. Because I know I'm more closely aligned with the Ojai studio artists, and they never received, or whoever was in charge didn't get the right communication to do that. So,
The letter that's included in our handbook accompanies the check that is received by the
Okay.
grant recipient. In a perfect world, whether they did or not, but I will let you know that OSA did respond.
good.
They were one of the first ones that Brian sent back the report in a very timely fashion, very thorough, so thank him for that. And, as the chair of the grants, I've learned a lot this cycle. I have many ideas on how to improve this system. I would love the opportunity. I didn't get the opportunity to collaborate with the city on how the grants would be rolled out in terms of information or when people would be even receiving checks. I am in the community going to events. I see these people on the face of the grants. They have questions. I don't have answers. So I thought that as the Arts Commission, we should be more involved with how it's being handled from the city end. And as we get closer to when the application is opened up, I will put forth, my ideas for improvement. But for now, I just want to say, yay grants.
Yes. Well, thank you for the effort that you gave. I did have some talk with staff, and they beat you to the punch. They suggest, James suggests that now is the time for us to set a new calendar that has a little more specifics than the grants calendar that we've had in the past, because we're kind of in between seasons right now. And so I would like to have a future agenda item, maybe next month, in terms of recommendations from from you and or the ad hoc committee or people you choose to talk to about what can we do to tighten the calendar and make sure that it flows with the processes here at staff. Because, yeah, I mean, it's easy to say, oh, we awarded them in November and they don't get a check till now, but there's reasons that happened and we can address them, I think, now.
Right, well, I mean, that would be the main piece of information is how much time does the city council and how much time does the city staff need to move this ahead, and we can work backwards from that. If it's, they need it from November and it takes all the way until the end of March for them to get their money, okay, maybe we move the grant deadline, to July. If it's,
Or maybe we get it on city council's agenda in December. There's a lot of things, but I think now's the time to address that
Yeah.
and come up with a perfect world and then
this year,
staff can tell us
this
how
year
that
was
works.
an election year, so we had a new mayor, we had a new council member, so it did get bumped, but James did point out to me that the grants, notifications and checks are all about within a week of what they were last year. So,
You know, But we want to do better. So,
yeah, I would like to see us do a lot better.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. All the grants that we've,
or we'll just have to start calling them 2026 grants.
well,
That's a joke.
let's do that. So I'm gonna put a future agenda item down as a grants calendar review. We're gonna have to give our, yes,
And I mean, that's, we shouldn't have to be on such a tight schedule if there isn't a tight schedule. That's all.
yeah.
Like, and it's the grant applicants who are in the tightest schedule. And they're the ones who need more leeway.
Yeah.
So like a 2-month application process, et cetera. So anyway, I'm
Well,
excited.
you interrupted when I was in mid-praise of the work that you did and our appreciation for that. It was almost boring. I think I told you about that. When you do things right and there's nothing to yell about, it's quiet in the room. So you've brought some order and some trust, and you've built a lot of political capital, and that's one of the main reasons I know we have strong support on the council to increase the amount of grants that we give this year. So, and I'm hearing, let's in the community, so don't, remember, we have a plan, it's to increase our grants is in there too. So remember that should come up in every conversation that we have in the community, that now's a good time to do that. And we are, for the first time I've heard that that was actually item in the general plan work that the council is doing. Yes, Corinne.
When did you hear of this, and in what context, about art being part of the general plan?
I
You
heard that
mentioned that
from
earlier.
I heard that from liaison. I heard that from council person too.
Because previously it was not in.
Right.
So now it is?
I'd
Would
call on
you?
James
Yeah.
to give.
Through the chair, I think what may have been discussed is presently they're in the process of doing goal setting. And
Goal setting.
is one of the areas that the discussion of grant funding has been brought forward by the council and city staff for discussion. So there is nothing to report at this time. However, it is presently being discussed.
So I guess they're goal setting. That's part of a strategic plan. So I just wanted to make the point that it's your personal direct work and your leadership with that team that has kind of far surpassed my sharp tongue in terms of moving this forward to where it's a possibility.
Thank you and you all for your help.
Yeah. Do you have something?
Yes, I just want to echo that. Thank you so much for bringing stability and confidence to our grant program. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No one buys the car if it isn't a good car, So we ask for money, but we show them, we give, we like to think that is the best value that the city council ever had. This was what they spent on the arts grants this year. And that leads into my report. I do want to mention that it's going to be a strategic planning year again, because we're asked to do every 2 years to do an update on our 5-year plan. And I have to tell you that, our plan was ambitious and it still looks good. And I've been checking off some things on the Gantt chart, and it's perfectly reasonable and common that some things move slow, some things move fast. and they get pushed along. But this year will be an opportunity for us to bring our new commissioners into part of that planning, and to also adjust for the future or change anything, because we don't change things, oh, I got a good idea. We change things during our strategic planning, and it becomes part of the plan, and the plan is the idea that we carry forward. So just be prepared toward the end of the year for that, and start continue to cultivate our fellow art lovers, artists, art students in town, because I think we have, now we're finally building this hub and spoke thing that we had hoped to connect these people. And, so keep talking it up, because it seems like when we talk about these and it's focused on the plan and not on like individuals, then it seems to happen. It's slow, but it happens, so we'll give government a chance. Technology is a big part of that. I wish I had something to report on that. I don't, but I have at the county level, there's some things happening, and they'll be presenting the results of some of their studies in the upcoming months, both on. Let me come back to the. The other thing we have support on council from is that assessment of the kind of the state of the economy of the arts in Ojai, and what is the impact. I have to come up with a better name for that, but I know that Councilperson Rule in particular, and I think this is part of council trying to do things in some new ways under the new leadership too, and to be able to go out there, measure things, and then respond to real facts, rather than political ease or something at the time. So I don't want the arts to be passed up in that, so I think we can go in the same way someone wants to fill a pothole and try to get investment in the arts. Then we need to have a plan and a way to measure it, and you can't measure an improvement if you don't know where you're at from the beginning, just like with our public art thing. So that's the other one to talk about in town too, because I do think we have some capital we can use there too. All right, I'm going to move on to, unless I have something else for you guys. Don't think so. Future agenda items. I already mentioned 3. Liaison James, grants calendar, Big Red Roller,
Mentorship.
and the mentor program. And what do we say about conservation? Oh, that was sort of a separate, you're on there.
There's another item I have, if I may, if it would be appropriate at this
Please.
point. And it need not be the next meeting, because it looks like that might be packed, but certainly it should be for the future, and that relates to the new handbook we just received. So the new handbook contains a policy regarding audio at meetings. And you will recall that when Dance Ojai presented, they were silenced and were not permitted to present their original composition, which was to be a part of the dance performance itself. So this policy was promulgated without discussion and without community input and without any commission input. And this commission is concerned with visual arts, with performing arts, with literary arts, and with musical arts. And as we know, because we've seen it before, the visual arts can be presented to the public via the audio presentation. Performing arts can be as well. For example, in our last session, Richard Camp, on behalf of OPAT, presented the intro to his one-man play, and that was very engaging and interesting. In terms of literary arts, I could recite a poem I have written, and that would be perfectly appropriate. But when it comes to the musical arts, an original composition cannot be presented, and that isn't right.
Why is it?
It is because in the handbook, we have been informed that audio of music cannot be presented because it would result in a potential takedown notice from YouTube. So the problem we have, and that I think we need to discuss, and again, it need not be at the next meeting, is that the mere expediency of the time it takes or the cost of YouTube is never the appropriate response to a violation of free expression. And so I know the mayor is concerned about this as well, but I think we, the Arts Commission, because it acutely affects us, we need to have that addressed and have it resolved.
Thank you. I think that is important. I think there's things we can do in here, and there's things that we can do outside of this room. So let's definitely put it as an agenda item for the future, and we'll put it in there. You know, that doesn't. We'll be able to do that. You may have something to report about the handbook later when it gets to your. Yes.
I just had one point I'd like to add for clarity. It's not that no music is allowed. The music must be submitted in advance. It must be checked for copyright, and it won't get the meetings pulled down from YouTube. Just
Well,
wanted to
let's not turn
provide
into a
that
discussion now, because it's not
right.
on the agenda, but let's say that
for
it's
the,
important.
for the public, if I may, to clarify the clarification, at least under the policy, it says that it will be checked for fair use, quote unquote, not for whether it is an original copyrighted in the performer's copyright ownership. So that's, I mean, it's a nuance and a tweak that we can take care of, but I just didn't want the public or this commission to be misled about what it says.
Sure. Well, good. Let's just carry on, not discuss it here, but at least let the community know that we take that very seriously. Artists' rights, that's part of what makes the job a challenging job, a career to have, and we want to try to grease that however we can. Staff liaison report. Liaison James.
I think we covered most of the report material earlier. There was one other additional point I'd mention with the grant cycle from last year. We did receive a letter saying thank you to the arts grants, I believe the ad hoc and the commission, expressing gratitude for how the funds were used last year, particularly regarding a program at Nordhoff. So the community was just reaching out to thank everyone for their efforts on the grants with the last grant cycle.
Nice. That was such a
Thank
great party when they were here, all in the same room. We should probably have a after party. I'm serious. That would be kind of cool. Yes, I took the liberty tonight of trying to interject a liaison report in here because I read about it in the new handbook. That's rather than you sit there with something to say all night and then have to add it later. That's why I kept calling on James. Karina.
If I may, for a future agenda
Yes.
item, we spoke about it at the time, and we are coming quickly up to the 1-year anniversary of the fabulous networking party we did have with all of the arts organizations at the Ojai
the end.
Valley Inn. And we said it then that it was very positive and everybody loved it, and we should do more of those. So let's try to get one coming and for
Anyone here want to
July.
work on that? Do you want me to work on it?
No, I mean, I can work on it.
Go for
I
it.
mean, David and I worked on it before.
Yeah, then we'll just
Right.
bring
I
it,
mean, if
we'll bring
David-
it, just let's get, if there's any money needs spent, then we'll bring that in. I know David would love to be there. And maybe we can recognize the,
Okay. So,
let's maybe have it ready when it's on the agenda, you know,
Okay.
actually, yeah.
Okay.
Rather than,
I
so we
see.
can work on that now,
Right.
yeah.
Great.
That moves things faster. Okay, Commissioner comments.
Before we move on to item 10, I
Yes,
have,
I'm sorry,
I have
agenda.
something on item 9.
Yes.
So James, you know, I've asked in the past for the matrix an example of which I provided to you that shows us where public art potential projects are along a timeline. Do you think that will be coming to us soon? Because it really is a vital document in terms of our planning and our understanding. And to sort of make the point that Karina made earlier about communication, the only way we can fully understand what we're doing is with that appropriate communication.
We would still require that would go before the commission, and the commission would then need to vote to have us take that to the city manager, and then for him to allocate staff time to generate those reports.
So, okay, so
Agenda item.
this is giving me a headache.
Yes, I
in
know.
part-
and
In part because this
apologize.
is my third time
I
asking
did.
about this.
I forgot to
So-
report to you after I met with James earlier, and there's no good news, but I did express to staff that was an important thing, and the process is to get it here. Either we can't direct a report unless there's a commission action. Is that what you were saying? And
The commission would need to collectively agree that they are requisitioning staff time from the city manager, and then he could choose whether or not he will allocate the staff time for that particular task.
I told you
Okay,
what it
so
was,
let's
but,
add, let's add this to the agenda.
Yep.
Let me tell you why it particularly irritates me, not only because I've asked 3 times and this seems to be a moving target, but more specifically because we always used to receive it. And so the fact that it has fallen off through inadvertence or negligence, and we are not receiving the reports as we used to. And Smitty, I see you're getting uncomfortable because I'm getting a little steamed about this. But the fact that we now have to go through this rigmarole to get back what we used to have seems just startling to me. But nevertheless, let's do it. Let's put it on next month's agenda. And then the question I have for you, James, is how long will it then take to generate a report? Does this then have to go to city council and they have to entertain it at a meeting, and then you all have to do something about it, and then maybe in 6 months we get back what we used to have, which is a vital document for our performance?
And further to that,
Karina?
does that take up all of the staff liaison time?
Right.
I have a question about this, because this just seems.
I really don't.
Well,
Can we
no.
do it offline? Or it's not an agenda item, and we're going to put it on the agenda for the future, and we're all equally frustrated.
Well, no, I'm just wondering,
Go
is there anything that we can do to make it happen faster? Because, we're not paid, but we are capable of doing things. And I'd be happy to volunteer to come down and use my time to make it happen if that's necessary.
Well, remember, it involves coordination with the building and planning, and it involves other agencies, all of which know the issues related to permits and size and what falls within public art criteria. And I know we're getting deeper into it than we should. Let's put it on the agenda for next meeting.
Great idea. And we may be able to solve it other ways too, but we'll do that, so. Okay, guys. Commissioner comments. Let's take a deep breath. Anybody want to add anything to what you've had to say tonight? To leave us
Well, I-
uplifted?
Well, you know what? I mean, I'm a very busy person, but I do have time to direct to making things happen. So I would like to know what I can do to to help things along. If there is something I can do behind the scenes to make things move.
Generally, that is something that is considered permissible. It's actually encouraged. And it's one where, as long as it's something that falls within the responsibilities of the commissioner, yourself being education, that might be, as long as you're not stepping on toes and the commission coordinates, It is very much encouraged that, that the commissions actively participate in generation of reports on areas of expertise.
Okay.
Any other comment, Pam?
Well, I just want to say I appreciate all of you so much. I think we're a great commission. I think not only do we get along, but I respect each of you individually, and I see how much we're doing behind the scenes. And I'm very confident in what we're doing.
Thank you. Commissioner Wright, do you have some comments?
Comment, tomorrow is Third Thursday, so the museum is
Friday.
open.
Friday. Third Friday.
Third Friday, today's Thursday, tomorrow's Third Friday. The museum will be open all day for free with a reception 5 to 7 for the group show curated by Carol Sutton Shaw.
Sutton, yeah.
Sutton Shaw.
Nice.
No, Shaw Sutton.
Shaw
Shaw
Sutton.
Sutton.
And it's, she's, I mean, we know her, she's an OSA artist and an incredible fiber artist. And I think it's gonna be amazing. Have you seen it? I figured.
Very
And
cool.
also, Christine and I attended the launch party for the KOJY, the not-for-profit radio station that a couple of young men are trying to launch here in Ojai. So we're looking forward to that. They need 24-hour programming, so get your DJ hat on. Maybe you'll have a show.
Thank you. Commissioner Steiner?
Karina stole my thunder. I was going to talk about the museum opening of fiber artists. That should be great tomorrow evening. And I also wanted to mention the launch of the new radio station. So I've got nothing else to add. Thank you.
OVA also has an opening tomorrow night.
OVA has an
5 to
opening
7.
tomorrow night. What did I do, Artie, this week? Well, I saw Commissioner Steiner at the Glasso Bailey Foundation Gallery, where the Ojai playwrights presented an appreciation for their supporters. And we learned of the Indigo Girls coming to do a concert, or at least an Indigo Girl, in May at Berger's Playhouse in support of the playwrights. And I had a word with them from the city, thanking them. And I spoke to probably over 150 people in attendance that now is the time to push for grants. This group got a grant, and I said to them, and you have a commission that's fighting for you right now. And so that was enjoyable. And the Ojai Pixies were there, and they've been invited to the concert now at the. It was fun, but it was again a room full of artists. Once again, if we can be the hub and the spokes in this town, the content is there. I mean, the artists out there are just amazing, and the children are just yearning to get whatever falls from the table. Let's just make sure that we connect it and set the table and make it happen. Okay, is our city council liaison present? Nope. Online? Okay, so we don't have a report from there. I think this may be Rachel's last one too, because I think Leslie Rule is going to be our next. No, it's Newgow. Kim's
Council person.
council person,
No.
council liaison.
Can I reiterate the date and time for the museum enrichment seminar?
Or I would like to, because I wrote it down right here. That's March 26th. What day of the week is that?
It's Wednesday?
That's next Wednesday.
Yes.
Next Wednesday at 3 o'clock at the museum. Thank you, museum, for
Yes.
being our host. What a
So much.
beautiful place to do anything arty in a museum. I mean, but those people stay busy and they use their facilities for a lot
Set
of
up the
things.
chairs,
But
they do
they're
everything.
extended at no cost to the community for these enrichment seminar. That's March 26th, 3 to 4:30.
Nicole Slater.
And with that, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.